Hi everyone, good afternoon to you. I'm yours and truly Frank Bello. I'm coming live in my usual style. You can see the background. I don't have to open my mouth to talk because you can see it. I'm very comfortable. It's a glorious day in London, very sunny. The only difference is that the temperature is a bit lower, although the sun is out. It is 10 degrees Celsius in that particular area that I'm in London. I can spot Prince Adebukun and Omolara Sunshine. Thank you. Yes, today's Monday, the 3rd day of March 2020. The time in London is exactly 14:32 today. Great, buoyant afternoon. The sun is out. Let's thank God for that. What we want to quickly talk about before I am taken out of this place, because I'm not on break. I've been going through tons of my messages, but two in particular caught my eyes. And those two, that's why we want to talk about those two. The very first one, I reposted it into a community that I belong to, which all the powers that be are inside. Talk of who is who in Nigeria, that particular forum. They've not used their names. They've used bogus names, but a handful of them are in that group. So whenever there's a posting or something from somewhere, all those people, the powers that be, they pick the way you feel. If I have to write very provocatively, I can write provocatively and drop it inside that place, and they surely will pick it. Olufimilayo to show me Chris Emiogolo. I can see one of our prophets from the Jerusalem church is equally in the house. Odina Kachuku Omoka, thank you. What we want to talk about today is titled #End Nigeria Now. You know, I've not really hidden my own initiatives and my moves to tell the whole world the way I feel. Long time. At least, if I am right, I have been at the forefront of the fact that Nigeria was a fraud in the last 20 years. And I have always been advocating for a complete breakdown of the country back into the structure, the original structure that the British created. The old Western region, Eastern region, and Northern region. I've never hidden I've never in the last 20 years, because I know for a fact that Nigeria was a fraud. See, as at that time when I was advocating for a complete dissolution and then take the country back into its original negotiation, the way our forefathers, the founding fathers, negotiated that federating unit called Nigeria, I had been advocating in the last 20 years to take that country back into that structure. But because I have been a loner in the journey, and because I've always documented everything in all of my publications, starting all the way from rumors in 1997, 98, when I entered into the publishing scene. Daily Momodu Ovation magazine was just a couple of months ahead of me in the game as at that time, because he came out before me. But when we talk about the real professionalism and the know-how, Daily Momodu is no match to me. It's not. I've always, since 1997, I have been advocating and I have been campaigning ruthlessly, of course, to divide that country up into three. Why do I say that? In 1996, the man who taught me book publishing practice in my second year, a guy by the name of Charles McGregor, great guy. Charles McGregor worked in Nigeria as the managing director of Evans in Ibadan for many years. Charles McGregor is equally a consultant lecturer at Oxford in England, but he was with us at the London College of Printing, and he took me in book publishing practice. 1996 was the year Charles McGregor opened my eyes into seeing Nigeria the way I have never seen that country. A white man who worked many years as managing director of Evans Publishing in Nigeria. So, but because Charles McGregor, who ended up being my main supervisor on my major project in my final year, because I had both Charles McGregor and Dr. Bob Thompson, who took me in material science and technology. Yeah, I told you guys I've not really stuck myself on break. Should they break Nigeria? I think they should end Nigeria now. He made it known in 1996, Charles, that Nigeria was a fraud, that he knew that a white man, he pointed that argument in our lecture, in that book publishing practice lecture, to which many other international students from Denmark, from Japan, from China, from Singapore, Malaysia were all listening to. Because in the history of publishing, something came clear. If they want to write the history of publishing anywhere in the world today, let me assure you, Nigeria always creep in. I've been through it. And the universal free primary education and the free education that the UPN-controlled states in Nigeria implemented as part of their political programs was extremely successful to the extent that those projects made its way into the history of publishing. I've been through it, and I can honestly tell you that was the case. Why? Because indigenous publishing companies such as Evans Publishing, Macmillan Publishers, they were at the forefront of delivering that quality education and the provision of textbooks to educate the southwestern part of Nigeria. Most of the authors, such as those of us who did both the arts and the sciences, I did both. Stone and Cousin on biology was foreign author. Nelcon in physics was foreign. Holderness and Lambert in chemistry were all foreign. Imagine the number of supplies those publishers will have to reprint to meet the demand of the thirst in the demand by the UPN-controlled states. It was a big success. Charles made me realize that two things can unite a nation, and that was when my head got straightened up. Your language and your religion. Nigeria was a fraud. By the time Charles McGregor's time was coming to an end, and the way our educational system in Nigeria continued to take shape just after the military took power in 1983, that toppled the civilian government. That was the beginning of the whole thing, of our problems. Macmillan decided they would call it a quit because they were not making enough profit to sustain their operations in Nigeria. Macmillan was put up for sale. I knew about this, guys. I'm not just making all this up. Macmillan was put up for sale. Charles McGregor was in Nigeria at the time. Fine. Obasanjo had already retired himself from office. I'm just trying to get myself to this destination, guys. So Obasanjo had already left power to go back to his farm. Charles was still in Nigeria at the time when Buhari, Idi Agbon, and Babangida were controlling the aim of the affairs. Charles made it known in that lecture that he, as the managing director of Evans at the time, went to Obasanjo to plead with Obasanjo to buy Macmillan Publishers. because Macmillan was put for sale. Charles McGregor made it known that Obasanjo told him emphatically that he was not interested in buying any publishing company, that what has publishing got to do with his own business. That showed the I don't care attitude of your leaders and reasons they've not really taken education a priority. Charles McGregor was not particularly happy because Charles, as a foremost commissioning editor, I should have ended up eventually into occupying the same position that Charles was when eventually I graduated in 1997 and they needed an expatriate in their operations in Nigeria. Charles tried every possible means for me to take up that position, but the salary at the time was not right for me. That showed you guys the attitude of your leaders towards the common man's children that they ought to educate. That tells you these guys are morons and they're not particularly interested in your children or the future of your children. That was the end of that case. See, Lola Olasukomi, I think you posted earlier on, because based on what you posted, I clip grabbed your posting, Lola Olasukomi, and I dropped it right inside that same forum that all these power brokers and the powers that be are inside, for them to pick up what the ordinary Nigerians are talking about them to end Nigeria now. I grabbed it and I dropped it inside it so that Obasanjo and many of those people, good luck Bello, Jonathan, can pick it up. I've dropped it, and that's why I have to come with this to suggest or to ask, is it appropriate for us to end Nigeria? Sorry guys, as you can see, I have to put my eyes on the road as well. Yes, so according to that post, Lola Olasukomi, you said it was posted by Shola Salako, but Lola, I saw it. You posted it yesterday at 18:20, and I've sent it to them. You said Shola Salako pointed it out, which was a fact. It was a fact of the matter that in the 70s, everybody were all shouting up NEPA. The moment NEPA took the light off, and the moment that light is back. As at that time, they called that phenomenon load shedding. Up NEPA. In 2020, according to Shola Salako, a child of 3 is saying the same thing. 1970 to 2020. Imagine somebody that was born as at that time in 1970 and 2020. How old will that person be, guys? That person will be in his 50s. In his 50s. Somebody that was born in 1970 and in 2020, a child of 3 now in Nigeria is singing the same hymn sheet that Nigeria sank in 1970. Again, there was another posting that has gone viral on Facebook and perhaps on the other social media. I think that equally made, somebody posted that into the same forum for OBJ. Many of these people are in that forum. Bode George, Goodluck Jonathan, they've not used their names, but we know them. We know them. It's a ghost name they've all used, but we know them. If I want to provoke any of them, I know exactly what to do in that forum to provoke them that will make them speak. But sometimes these guys are so clever that they know how to control their emotions. This guy, whose clip's gone viral too, posted it from Dubai. Dubai, I've made many shows as well, guys, on Dubai, if you remember. It only took United Arab Emirates 10 years to create their own paradise that they've created. 10 years. And this was between 1996, 97, 95, 94, 95. United Arab Emirates was a complete desert. Nothing exists. So this Nigerian guy, whose videos gone viral, went in and then shot the video to say how beautiful that country was. Another woman made the same. I've watched two separate clips from two separate Nigerians. And they were cursing all those leaders. So you see, 50-something years from 1970 to date, a child that was born 3 years ago still saying, up NEPA, anytime the lights are back. And under the same Obasanjo, we've got over $30 billion that was mismanaged just to light up Nigeria 24 hours. Look, there's nothing hard. I've taken people up on this issue. There's nothing hard. But that is another topic entirely for another day. Let me just quickly, because I think I'm just getting close to. See, in Lagos of today, no light for days, sometimes for months. I have been in Lagos. Let me see. I think this was about 8. How old is IBB now? I think IBB is 78. Yes, he should be 79 this year. Yes. So 9 years ago I was in Nigeria, guys, when I remember, because that was when IBB clocked 70 that I made the last publication. And I tell you something, other than the fact that Goodluck Jonathan and his government seized my publication that made me stay for such a long time, and I continued to burn money on a trip I was meant to spend 2 weeks and then hand over the operations and everything that I've done in 2 weeks to my people, my staff over there in Nigeria. See, I stayed in a very posh, prestigious place in Lagos. I'm not going to mention that area for security reasons, because I know I'm seriously under the radar of your rogue security agents in Nigeria. But for 2 months, guys, there was no light. 2 months. Today, according to the post by Lola Olasukomi that was sent, posted by Lola through Shola Salako, today residents of parts of Lagos cannot find water. That is the most horrible part that I picked up. They can't find water. But Lagos is sitting on a coastal area. 60 years of going backwards is long enough. So Shola made it known and then nailed everything. That rest in pieces, Nigeria. That was cracking. End Nigeria now and save lives. Look, guys, let me just quickly pop around. Maybe. Thank you, guys. Unfortunately, I thought I would stay for a long time with you, but maybe we'll finish up this at some point, or just after knocking off this one, maybe I'll come back and then stick myself on break. So watch out. I can come back anytime. Share it if you want to share it, because I've got a lot more to say to you. Thank you all. I'll see you in due course. Bye-bye.